Hi and welcome to Down the Shed. So in front of me you can see a circuit board for a clock. That's mostly SMD. So it's a nice bit of work to go there. The LED segments are just literally segments, so there's 5 blocks to go in. I have tried one of these before and I messed it up. It was a big chip. Thank you, phone. 4 nuts, bolts, hardware, little battery holder, some capacitors, resistors, photo resistor, speaker, microphone, 19th century micro USB, couple of transistors but I think one spare, 3 LEDs but one spare, 2 chips. So that's some sort of MOSFET I reckon, or it's a bigger transistor than those anyway, and 2 electrolytic caps, 3 parts or 3 sections plus the 2 end caps to the building of it. They're all covered in acrylic or plastic covering. So we'll get, you can see they're the end ones because they're so designed to take spaces. So that's obviously some sort of filler. So let's get these SMD parts on. We're going to use the solder paste and gas cooker method again because that went so well last time. So I'll see you in a minute. Oh, fall over. Right, I've just sorted out some of my SMD spares because, as you can see, there's quite a lot of them. Those modules like what we're using now, just spare ones. There's a bunch of LEDs I bought for a different kit spare. So yeah, I don't know what I did with the 100k or 10k resistors, the 103s I think it is. Let's have a look on the board. Yeah, the 103s, 10ks. So I've delved down and I've managed to find a couple of spare 103s from other kits where things have gone wrong and you tend to keep parts behind. So that's the micro USB holder for this. So we're starting to get things. There's an older chip that did make it into a part. So I'll get these 2 resistors on the board. I'll get the other capacitor on the board. I'll put the LED on the board, and then I'll zoom in and put the chip on. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so we've got the little bugger out. The dot on the corner is there. So that's our dot down here, look, on the board. So I don't know if you can see it behind that bit of solder paste there, but there's a little white dot on the board. I'll try and zoom in a bit more. And we're back. So you can see the little dot on the board there. So that'll be the dot on the chip, which you now can't see. There we are. So you can see the dot, the indentation in the corner of the chip. That goes in line with that white dot on the board. I'll try and pick this little sod up again. Well, I'm going to pause you while I get the magnifying glass in close. Back to the channel. I've got some sand here from an undisclosed location. We'll just wait for this to heat up. So I'll use those 3 dots that I've made as a guide to where the camera's view. Right, so the heat off. I think that's pretty hot in there. What I'm going to do is try and gently put this board on here, and then we'll watch to see what happens. I can get a bit more zoom onto it. Bit of extra light from my magnifying glass. I can see solder starting to heat up. Might give it a touch of heat. Not too much, just get it on low just to warm it up. So I'll keep this running and I'll let it out the lengthy time bit waiting. Obviously any surface mount parts on the other side of the board we'll have to do with the iron, otherwise it will fall off this side. Turn the heat up a wee bit. This is all trial and error. I've already done this once. I can see smoke rising, so there must be something starting. Yep, I can see solder starting to bubble. 2 resistors over this end have gone. You can't see them on the screen. The big chip's starting to go. The LED's gone. The end of the board needs nudging up. One of them's tombstones. He should work still. I'm going to take him off though because he's upside down. And I can't find the exact tweezers I want. I better put them indoors. Right, I need to get this board off now somehow. I'm going to put that on the cool thing here, on the heat pad, soldering pad, because that will take the heat. That's off. So we're back in a minute. Right, I'm going to use this soldering iron tip, the very fine pointy bent one, just to touch up a few spots. There are 1 or 2 bridges on the board. See if I can get it into camera angle. So it's not too bad. There we go. So start at the end. It's not too bad, as you can see. Do a slow pass. I might just touch that one up a little bit, but it's actually fine. I've got the one chip to put back on there, the resistor. There's a couple of bridges on this. See if I can get them in shot. I'll turn the board around. Try and get it back in shot. There we go, we see a couple on that one. So that's the end, we're done. It's because we're so zoomed in. So yeah, and all those are on nicely. So not a bad effort with that sand and the old camping stove. Let's zoom this back out. So yeah, not a bad effort with the old sand technique there. I mean, we did kind of have thin and thick splodges of solder in places, so we pretty much knew and hinted we were going to get a few bridges to sort out. A bit of flux on there, drag solder it, it will sort itself out nicely. This one is just simply a case of heating it back up and melting it back on. So yeah, this is going quite well at the moment, and probably one of my better SMD kits, and possibly my first working SMD clock when I get this done. Right, I've already done one side of this chip, that's why there's flux all over it. But when you get a bridge, I've got one on this side. Let's see if we can get you in shot would help. There we go. Can you see the bridge? Let's try and keep that in shot. So I'm going to give the other chip a bit of inspection, do a final inspection on the SMD components, clean the flux up, and I'll be back. Right, so that's all the SMD components. They've been checked, touched up, everything's on the board, all the bridges have been, well, the 2 bridges on the big chip have been sorted. That's so much easier. Look up drag soldering on eBay. I might do a thing on it. I'll get a few old chips I've got and just try soldering them to a board or something. But yeah, they doing them singly, even under the 4x magnifying glass with a fine tip on your soldering iron, is an absolute nightmare. Especially the other kit I've got. Have a look on my 248 multi SMD LED clock kit. I did all them singly. I'm going to do them the same way as I did this, and all the chips will have to go on using drag soldering. But this is just absolutely flipping. That board is just so tidily soldered. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm so happy. So this should be a working clock once I've put in the other 2 capacitors, the 5 LED segments, the battery backup, the speaker, the microphone. Jobs are good. And so I'm guessing the mic has to go on the front because there's no room for it on the back. There's a thermo resistor to go on. It doesn't tell you where it goes on, but funnily enough, somewhere on this board there's a spot there for it. So we'll see. So I'll see you shortly. Let's get this buttoned up. Right, obviously we're going to have to mount the mic on this side of the board because it's not going to poke through an LED module. So we've got a black, we've got a dot next to the circle and a square pad. Now, after researching pad shape polarities on Google earlier, the square, there's no written law about it, but the square is always positive. So the microphone should have, because they don't have plus or minus on them usually, it's back in the bag here, just bear with me. That's the mic. So can I get it in shot? On there you'll see like a little crow's foot on one side. I'm trying to get it in camera. There we go. You'll see a little crow's foot. I think it's on the top side in the video. There's 3 little wires going to the casing. That's the earth. So that'll be where the dot is. So that will go on the dot side, and the other leg will be positive, so that goes in the square hole. So we'll have to glue tack that down. I've got the soldering iron cooling down, so I'll mount this and then go and sort out a brew. So that's the speaker that goes on the other side and welds through this side. Again, square and round hole, but the speaker will have a pos on it, so you know which leg's going in which hole. Right, well, since you've been gone, I've put the speaker in, which doesn't seem to be doing anything. Let's pull that across a bit. Speaker that doesn't seem to do anything on its initial test that I've followed. The large and small capacitors have gone in. The photo resistor's in. The battery backup's in. We've got the USB plug in. We've got the mic in. All the other stuff that we've done on the surface mount. So all we have to do now is get these LED panels in. So the panels have got some writing on the base. Don't know if the camera can pick that up. There we go. That goes at the bottom. So with the board the right way up, and then just literally slot these in. The pins won't be perfectly aligned, they'll be crap. Just do your best to slot them in there. Need to get the light. Just kind of walk them all towards where they need to be, and she'll slot in. Okay. So that big blodge of solder holding the battery backup down is causing us a bit of grief. Right, that should be enough. That's still firmly attached. That will give us the clearance. So slot the bottom back in. Re-guide the top. There we go, that sits a lot better now. Remember, these do have a protective film on them. So I'll just pop this one in and then I'll get the rest done, and by the magic of editing it will all be finished. So we got pin 1 with the square pin. Right, and this should be the last 2 solders of this kit. Okay, so I've powered it up, we've got it working. It wouldn't actually do anything until I'd put the battery back up in. You could set the time, but it wouldn't do anything, and it's certainly not 43 degrees Celsius. So it's now given us the wrong date, time, etc. So we touch both of the touchscreen buttons. There's a triangle and a circle on each end. If you touch both of them momentarily, it should go into, there we go. So now I've got to go through all time, date, alarm, font, display, middle point, balancing point. There is a, and then I'll photograph and host the instructions via a slideshow type thing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We finally had success in our clock build. This is SMD, so I'm pretty chuffed this one's working. Hiccups. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.